Hello, and welcome to Last Week on Office Hours. My name is Ken Jordan from Surrey in the UK, and I'll be your host today. We begin the week on Monday, where after our first hour of general questions, our second hour was focused on building kits for live streaming.
We got the Pelican case. We would send it with instructions inside and a return label back to me. And then I'd close it up and I'd take two zip ties. Don't think about locks. It just doesn't work. And then, like I said, with the return label, when they're done with it, they just have to put it back into the envelope and it comes right back to you.
What about microphone recommendations? Thinking about mics that are easy for non-tech people to use and set up.
The VideoMic NTG, it's a USB-C mic that actually sounds really good, but it is to get rid of the sound of the room, you really do got to position it very close. In a Zoom call, it's okay to be this close, 5 inches, and you can.
It's just hard for us to get civilians to put the mic in the right place.
On Tuesday, our audio day, we focused on picking the right mixer.
Audio sample rate, 44.1 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz. Is there a noticeable difference? And what do you use for office hours?
44.1 for music, 48 for anything with video.
The sample rate determines the frequencies that the digital system can store. So cut that number in half and you can have from 0 hertz up to that. But actually every converter now available does something called oversampling. So we actually are sampling 256 times that number. So we're sampling like at 11 megahertz, and then in math, that is converted down and they do a digital brick wall filter that takes out frequencies above half the sample rate, that Nyquist frequency. So audio difference between the two of them is basically nil.
And on Wednesday, we had special guests from AJA, where they brought their new Bridge Live system for us to discuss.
So over the last 2-3 years, we've spent a ton of time looking at what our clients have been doing. And so now we've introduced the Bridge 3G NDI. And that the whole concept there was, we've been dealing with new tech for years, where there seemed to be a real big gap or problem was bridging many, many different NDI devices into SDI and back out.
One of the nice things about Bridge Live is that you can take your input, whether that be SDI or that be an IP video input, and you can create a pipeline. And the reason we call it a pipeline is that it's not a simple input to output, one-to-one relationship. You can take the pipeline and you can be outputting to multiple different destinations.
And on Thursday, we revisited the subject of Office Hours 2.0 and brought you the latest updates.
So Tuomo's been really, really great and created for me a system whereby I can send a GET request from Isadora to SPX with the parameters that we want for the lower third in it. So Mukana serves up the question. It tells me the name of the asker, the location of the asker, the text of the questions, how many votes were on it, what hour it was tagged for, etc. Now you can see in this configuration, we have automatic lower thirds based on what the question is. But that's been really cool to be able to have SPX now tied into this. It was a big missing piece that once you see it in there, I think today, it really starts to look like a show when you can see the graphics and the lower thirds. Before it was just like, oh, there's some cool lower thirds and full screen video. But now you can start to see the way that's going to come together.
And on Friday, we were joined by the team from Parsec.
Parsec is a peer-to-peer streaming technology, which means that we have what's called a host computer, which is the computer you're connecting to. And you have the client computer, which is the computer you're connecting from. And Parsec facilitates a direct connection between those two computers so that the client computer can interact with and control the host computer in the most high-performing, lowest latency way possible. Parsec is always going to stream at an ultra-smooth 60 FPS, even up to UHD 4K. And from a latency perspective, we've taken a lot of care to make sure that all your peripherals and your audio and all that is perfectly in sync and gets across the internet to your client device as quickly as possible. That's really where Parsec excels.
And Saturday, the long day, where after our general questions, this is followed by the education hour. Yet again, this isn't streamed on YouTube and you have to join us live on Zoom to take part. This was followed by the last cooking show in the present series with DeMonte. And finally, we returned to Belfast in the Accidental Theatre, where we did another live show using the Belfast method. Thanks again to all our video contributors this week, and to the music bed supplied by Douglas, And of course, to our video editor, Roten. If you'd like to contribute to Last Week on Office Hours, go to our website, lastweekonofficehours.com, where you'll find a form with all the details. Thank you for joining us, and see you again next week.